So welcome to Bunny's Designs. This is a live show recorded for Ustream.tv and also for YouTube. I'm working in my animorphia, which I've had for quite a while now, and I'm using my Hydrus, which are almost dry. They're not quite as wet as a drop would be, but because it's quite warm in here, so they've dried a bit. So I'll zoom in, and then I'm just having a bit of a play because I seem to have some nice greens, and so I thought I'd play with the greens and get that kind of a highlight going. So I'm dunking into some water, and then I'm twisting to a point. And this one I'm actually using a number 4 Aquamarine Delaroni, number 4 rigger. And it's not a bad size. So I've got a damp brush, and I've made an olive colour, and then I've added some more green. So it started with olive, and it's giving me a kind of a nice deep green to work from. And then if you manipulate it round, it becomes a highlight. And you can only do that with a damp rigger because it doesn't want to be too wet. If it's too wet, you run the risk of buckling your pages, and it'll be too pale to start with. You need to let it kind of run out, if that's the right word. So you're starting with a fairly strong colour, and then the rigger continues to loosen that water, release the water, and there's nothing to stop you going back in. Oh, there it is. And putting the shadow in if you want to. But if you want the highlight, you want a clean damp rigger, twisted on a baby wipe, and then you just keep going until you've got hardly any colour. Oops, I've just picked up a different colour on that one. I touched a bit of orange or something. I don't know how I did that. So again, I think that's a twig flower, so we'll go that way. And again, this is another kind of peaceful-ish way to work, and just stroke over the dark bits. If you want to make a dark, and then you've got a highlight. You've got to keep the rigger damp though, so normally just kind of do it in one. Sometimes you can get away with 2, but you kind of want 1. And start on one side and manipulate it round. And then if you want a little bit of dark, just, I think that's a pale one actually. I haven't decided what to do the claws on yet, so... clouds, sorry. I was watching Star Trek last night and it just looks like a hand. So this giant hand appears and holds the Starship Enterprise original series. I can't help being a bit of a Trekkie. So do that last one. And if you feel it's too wet, you can nip it. And you're not touching the colour or interfering with it, you're just interfering with the amount of water on it. And that can bring it back so it's not too wet. And there's always one more when you think you've finished. So I've got lots of different leaves there. And then we've got some different ones here. So I've got the Hydrus in a little kind of cheapy palette, and they just seem to kind of sit there, wait. So I kind of like to mix my own greens, so I think somewhere around here I've kind of got a really rich and unfortunately that's going to be too strong. If I want a colour, so I'm going to have to do all these stems, and even then I think it's going to be too much. Just a bit of a touch of colour. And over it back and forth. And again, it's a really soft, easy way. There's a little bit of colour mixing, but you're not taking tops and tubes off and things. You've got all the colours there. It's quite portable, is this little palette, and it dries. These colours will dry flat, and again that's quite nice. And if you want to kind of go over there with that little bit of a shadowy effect. These colours won't run anywhere. Once they're dried, they will not run anywhere, and you've got them there so they do last quite well. I'm just going to move to this page because I found some more here. Now, if you thought about these flowers, you probably could identify them and do them in the proper colours. But I just want a mixture. And then, that takes it to be too much trouble then. I want to make a good job, but I want to just enjoy the process of colouring. And that's why I invented watercolouring, just purely so that people could have a watercolour effect in a colour book with a tablespoon of water. And the bigger space, you could possibly go with a bit more colour. Sorry, there could be a bark alert, because Alfie doesn't know the difference between somebody being upstairs and somebody being bad. So, I think I've got them all. Oops, there's a couple more. Oopsie. I normally like to put a little bit of paper down underneath that last page, because it makes it a lot easier. I think that's the back of a... Again, that's too wet. Just nip it. And it instantly takes that pressure off all that water. So you can just go over the stalks. So, Suzanne says, hi Alfie. Alfie? Oh, he's disappeared. Alf? That's not a good sign. Alfie? Oh, good boy, he's behind me. He was behind me. So, and again, flat. So, I've got to make that olive colour again now. So I've got that yellow colour, which is, it was there, wasn't it? It was very bright, that, and that touch of pink there made that go a completely different colour. Now I liked what it did, but it wasn't supposed to do that. I think we've got a yellow duck. So a touch of gamboge. And again, this is completely opposite to what we've just been doing with that really vibrant kind of in your face. Oops, says she. You can tell you've got too much. You can still go, it's still going. let's have a look. We've got a little crocodile down here. Well, these are normally, I think they've got kind of white. There's just a hint of yellow, I think. Just to take that stark white off. Got some fairly dull colours. A lot of bright, but a lot of dull. They're not in your face. The brightest colours, which is normally what happens with the Hydrus. And I did put a touch of that, but oops, burnt umber down there. So I think these are kind of having a taste of what that is. And again, this is a real nice way to work as well. Just I could steal, because it's like a paper palette, so you can steal that colour. Sometimes it's nice just to have some pale colours. And again, we need that green, kind of that more orangey green than. I think we've got all those, so that looks quite good. They've got a bit of a highlight on them. Yes, he's been a good boy, so for a change. He's been a good boy. So I need to make that olive again now. So I need a bit of gamboge. And some green. So just have to this should get paler and paler and paler the more we go up. So then we start at the bottom again. So thanks for stopping by, guys. I hope you're alright. I do apologise, it was a complete world of my own then. Not quite sure where I was. So I wonder how pale we can get. Now you can get a really nice highlight on that one. So they're all slightly different, and again that makes it a little bit more interesting. And especially when you've got kind of lots of different greens and yellows together, you know, you're going to have some quite interesting colours. It's quite a lot of colour on this brush. So much colour, just keep going. We have that's okay, I think. And again, oops, really doesn't take long. If you touch your Hydrus, it lasts a while. So I've done quite a bit. You don't think you have, but it's quite amazing how easy and quick working with really bright colours is. And watercolouring is fairly quick. So you can see, oops, how far we've got. So there's one or two things going on up there. And I think that was that green. And just put that down there. So again, this way is another way to do it. It's quite therapeutic because you've got all your colours there and you're just touching a bit of colour, and it's just really easy to just kind of pick some colours. Do need that under there really, would be good. And again, touch the browns, and then you can decide to either do all of it the same or put the shadow effect in there. And then want our yellow colour that we made, which is could put some blue over that and turn it down a bit, I think. Maybe. It's very bright. And you can paint all day like this because these riggers don't put any pressure on your hands. So you're using your wrist more than your fingers, so you can just keep going. It's just keep going. Which is again a nice thing. If you want to colour all day, it means you can do. So we've only been going half an hour and we've got quite a few intricate watercolour effects which look quite nice. Got some shadows and highlights, and that's with not touching anything twice, it's just doing things once, which I kind of like. So thank you for watching.